Earlier today, a group from the United Soccer League toured Portland to explore the possibility of adding an expansion team.
When speaking with league officials yesterday, they tell me that it is more of when, not if there is a franchise that comes to the city.
Earlier today, the United Soccer League announcing that Portland will be the 15th expansion team joining USL's League One.
The team of local investors says it's been awarded an expansion franchise by the United Soccer League. So the plan is to start play in 2025 with home games at Fitzpatrick Stadium.
And the team would compete in the USL League One. That's the lowest of 3 divisions of professional soccer sanctioned by the U.S. Soccer Federation.
Well, there certainly is a lot of hope among sports fans across the state here in Maine. And as I learned, there may be more soccer fans in our midst than we think.
My name is Mark Miller, co-owner of the Portland Zoo. The zoo opened up October 2018, and maybe a handful of our friends even knew what we were doing. Our friend Matt came into the bar, set up a meeting with us, said he had a plan, and he wanted to pitch us a soccer program. So, like, cool, all right. You know, I'm into soccer. I'm not a soccer player, but I do know that there's a strong community, and it was something to listen to.
We're a place that shows English Premier League soccer early mornings on Saturdays and Sundays, and we've got people who visit Portland who come in. We got locals. We got people from other parts of the state who are in Portland for a day coming in to watch, and being a part of that community and growing that community is something that I feel really strongly with and happy to be a part of.
People know each other. It's very friendly, family-oriented, comfortable to bring kids and dogs here. So the zoo is really a gathering place for people who love soccer, and it turns out there are a lot of people who love soccer in and around Portland.
The current soccer support in the city already is cool. So you go to the Portland Zoo, huge soccer community, and Gritty's, right? The Spurs group is there, and there's 40 people there. And that's just sort of like the most passionate group, you know, so it's sort of the current already existing, you know, soccer fan, supporter, you know, just sort of enthusiast is awesome.
What I've always loved about Portland is, you know, it may not be a Boston or a Chicago, a big city, where you can go to a dozen different sporting events, a dozen different museums, but you can traverse the entire city in one day, and you can see a baseball game or a hockey game or soon to be a soccer game. The accessibility of local sports is something that we should be proud of.
Portland certainly has a tradition of minor league sports, and so minor league sports have thrived in Portland for a number of years. Soccer is a little different in that the team that we're proposing is not a affiliate of any first division team, right? And that's one of the things that we think can be really great about it, is this will be the first team. This will be the professional team with big aspirations beyond just player development.
We are a group of people that I think we're fairly sports mad. I think a pro soccer team in Portland will have a lot of support. To have a team that we can rally behind in our backyard, it's time. It's time, for sure.
Soccer is the fastest growing sport in America. It's finally catching up to the rest of the world. And I really think soccer's time in the U.S. is now. The World Cup is coming in 2026. I think people are going to go bonkers for the World Cup now that there's a sophistication in soccer fandom in the U.S. that we just haven't had before. And so to tap into that a couple years before the World Cup, to bring that local, lower division, community-based pro concept to Portland, I just think the timing could not be better.
I just believe it can happen here. with the right organization and the community behind it, we could build something really special here, I think. And at this point, it's an article of faith. We're so early in this thing that it could really go in any direction. But I believe that it can happen.
We're speaking with Gabe Hoffman-Johnson. He's one of the founders of USL to Portland, a group that's trying to bring a United Soccer League 1 team here to Portland. And tell us a little bit about kind of some of the things that need to get going and how quickly can this thing get up and running, do you think?
I'm a firm believer that this thing has to be community built. We want to seek, input from the people that are passionate about soccer, that are passionate about this region, that are passionate about community, and build it together. I think that's extremely important, as a way to go about it.
Gabe was one of those kids who was happiest when he had a ball at his feet. And for him, taking the ball out in the backyard and working on juggling, working on kicking, working on whatever it was that he was working on, that was play. I think soccer was in a lot of ways the glue of our family at some level, because both Gabe and his brother Caleb, loved to play. His father was a college soccer coach. So he grew up watching practices, hanging out with soccer teams, being like the mascot. He and his brother would run around and hang out at the games. I mean, it was the backdrop of their life. And it was, this is what you do when you're not at school. You play or you watch games.
I know Gabe from playing against him in high school. I think it was just at a game one morning. He was like, come out back real quick. I've got something to tell you. Like, keep it on the hush. And he told me about this team he was working on. And I was just over the moon about it. And then over the games, over the years, over the months that it sort of progressed, it was like, this is real, it's coming. It was just hype from day one. It's a small enough community where you don't have to really work for that hype. But as far as the soccer community goes, the second the word gets out, it's out.
Gabe was a superstar in high school and played and captained the Dartmouth men's soccer team and took them to the NCAA Sweet 16. So, had a really, really illustrious college soccer career, and then played a year of soccer in the USL for St. Louis FC. At some point, came back to Maine and decided he wanted to start a soccer club. So we were introduced about 2 years ago by a mutual friend. We started talking to Gabe and just decided that his vision was exciting and interesting, and that we had something to bring to the party, and that Gabe understood the soccer piece, and he understood the demographics, and he understood the marketing pieces, but he didn't understand what it was going to take to secure a stadium location and finance a stadium.
I think Gabe is uniquely poised to be the spearhead of this project because he is a Mainer and he's played soccer and he knows the passion that Maine people have for the game. And I think what he's done over the past 5 years, collaborating with other Mainers, trying to get this initiative off the ground, it speaks to what he's going to want to see in the team. And it also speaks to what the fans are going to see on a nightly basis.
I was in New York at the time, still working in finance, when I saw that the league was in town. There was a local headline. The league was in town. They were had just launched USL League 1, which is the third division. I think this was back in 2019. And that was like my, aha moment a little bit, just in terms of, that would be, I played in the level above, this sort of lower, third level seems, completely appropriate for a market like Portland. And, that's sort of when the wheels started spinning a little bit, so when I got back to town, sort of the year after, just started having conversations with people, I think I was trying to feel it out a little bit myself, but it just sort of felt like, I sort of think I'm the person to make this happen.
I remember the first time I met Gabe, he came in to meet with me at the chamber offices. It was this young kid with his wild hair, flannel shirt, sneakers, and I just remember thinking, well, this is going to be interesting. I'm going to talk to him about a soccer club. Like, okay. And immediately he just like dialed in on his passion for soccer, dialed in on the passion people have for soccer. And he sold me like that.
Hey everybody, how we doing? For those of you who don't know me, my name is Tom Karen. I am a host at the New England Sports Network in Boston. And before that, I was just a kid from Lewiston, Maine, who played soccer and loved soccer and still loves the sport to this day. The rest of the world has known what we are now figuring out in the United States, that soccer, more than any other sport, brings together fans of different backgrounds, different cultures, different communities, and makes them one community. And that is why we are all here today. Soccer's time in the U.S. is now. The World Cup is coming to our shores. Portland is about to become part of the fabric of the future of soccer in America. Because this sport brings us together like no other sport. Supporters don't just stand up and cheer for a goal, they stand as one to celebrate. And we as one are ready to welcome the professional game to Portland.
We are here to set a new benchmark for professional soccer clubs, not only in America, but globally. That is why we're here. And I look forward to making that happen with a great support team and with all of you. First drinks on us. We're here all night. Enjoy yourself and look forward to meeting all of you that I don't know already. So here we go.
This is something we've hoped for, it's something we've worked towards. This was really good. I don't think it's really set in yet, quite honestly, but yeah, it's an exciting day.
So what's next?
Yeah, fun starts, right? That's what's next.
Bissell Brothers and Hyrule have always strived to, just kind of work with what's in front of us in terms of serving our local community, but both brands have transcended that and in many spheres are known nationally and internationally, which was never sort of our goal, but it's definitely happened. There has to be a story behind any, especially the key components of a brand, a slogan or a tagline, an emblem. Gabe knew what he wanted, and I remember telling him, when it's done, you will know it and you will feel it, and do not compromise on that.
We had been kind of putting the forest, the water, these two essential, the lifeblood of the state, but we needed a kind of a hook to bring them together.
For nearly 50 years, every February, Portland, Maine was suddenly covered in these signs of love. Who put the hundreds of red hearts up was a decades-long mystery.
The Valentine's Day Bandit throughout the Portland area remains a mystery. It's been going on since 1976.
But it wasn't until last April that the local legend, the Valentine's Day Bandit, was finally revealed, but revealed in an obituary for a man named Kevin Farman.
My name is Sierra Farman. My father, Kevin, was a ringleader in the Valentine Bandit for over 4 decades. My father moved to Portland in 1978. The first year he lived in Portland, he saw the hearts and was so touched by them and thought it was such a cool thing that a community would do that. And the next year it didn't happen. And so he was heartbroken and decided to take it upon himself to make sure it happened going forward. It's a really cool tradition. It's been going on for over 4 decades in Portland and has really become an embodiment and a symbol of Portland and the community here.
The Valentine's Bandit is not a single person or a single group. It's a multi-generational kind of evolution of this simple act that I think is so symbolically Maine. It's so beautiful and simple, and the simplicity of that is something that we wanted to bring into our brand. We, from day one, knew that the club could do amazing things in the community with simple acts, and it felt the alignment with the Valentine's Day Bandit theme just made so much sense.
They pitched this whole idea of the team. Gabe Hoffman-Johnson was in that meeting and told us that he'd been inspired for years, even before my father had passed away, of the bandit as a symbol of community in Portland. The heart is all about passion. It's all about love and care. And I think that everyone that I've met through the team has just exemplified that. He'd be so honored and proud to have inspired something, even partially as cool as that and as big as that.
6 months before we even hired a designer, Gabe and I kind of foundationally had landed on heart or hearts of pine. We weren't sure at that point. We knew that the ubiquitous red heart needed to be in there, and we needed to represent the forest or pine tree and the ocean. That's the triad. That's the holy trinity of our brand. But then there's a whole nother layer of getting a designer to understand that.
Give it a little bit of pan shots, a little bit.
My name is Hugh McCormick, and I'm a graphic designer. I own and operate the Hugh McCormick Design Company. You have kind of an abstract idea. So you have the game of soccer is kind of the core product there. Then everything that surrounds that is all kind of just like made up by different experiences, ideas, themes, all this kind of stuff. The soccer fans, they're literally so passionate about it. You know, it's important to grab onto them, but bring in new people too and stuff. That's kind of one of my objectives, is just to make it seem cool and awesome, regardless if you're a soccer fan or not.
We really love the old original Maine flag, so it should have some kind of kind of pine influence in it. It should have a heart influence in it. It should have, the idea that it's coastal. And of course, one of the most iconic Maine things for me is the Dirigo star. The Maine state motto is Dirigo, I lead, because it's the first state to receive sunlight in the morning in the United States. So that's something that's really interesting, that's not a lobster boat or a lighthouse. So kind of like, hey, how can we play with that?
The aha moment, credit to Hugh, was the Dirigo heart. That was the that really unlocked the whole thing. Pine trees are pine trees, the ocean is the ocean. There's 1,000 ways to do it, but that Dirigo heart was pure genius.
I probably spoke with over 100 people. What are our references? What are the things that we care about? What are, everything that went into it, we spoke to people about. And then the rest was like, well, we better execute this and we better be spot on with like how we got here. Otherwise, people are going to be like, what the hell?
After years of waiting, Portland finally knows the name of its future pro soccer team. The team will be known as the Portland Hearts of Pine. The name, logo, and the club's crest were unveiled at an event this morning at Thompson's Point in Portland. The crest features a Maine pine tree, a tribute to the ocean, and the Dirigo heart. Team officials say the heart reimagines the Dirigo star while honoring the beloved Portland Valentine's Day bandit.
The pressure to make a team name and a logo. Can you imagine the pressure? And somehow they got it all in there. And to take the bandit heart and the story of the Valentine's Day bandit, which is one of the most incredible, unique stories, and to bring it into this brand and to tie it into nature and to tie it into Maine and Portland is genius level stuff.
It incorporates so much of what makes Portland, Portland, and what makes Maine, Maine. I think they hit a home run with this. I'm so excited that we're actually at this point now where we've got a name and we'll actually have a team playing soon. This feels good today. This feels so good to see this many people come out to want to see what this team is all about. This is just one of the best sports days I think the city of Portland has seen in a long time.
All of these like big tentpole moments, like announcing the franchise, announcing the brand, these things are just like massive moments that like are symbolic of all the work that's been done and where we're going and who we are. And we unveiled what we knew was going to be a little off the wall, a little different, a little novel, with some perspective that maybe people weren't expecting. From my perspective, like we're building this lifestyle brand of Maine and Portland that just happens to be a pro soccer team. And we want people to be attracted to us, even if they aren't soccer fans. I
think we did a pretty good job.
Coming up this season on Up the Hearts.
This feels like a community in search of a club, not a club in search of a community.
When I heard the Hearts are coming, I was kind of speechless. Like, I was like, wait, we are? Like, it's happening?
The state of Maine really is a soccer state. Maine is just this really cool melting pot of people and individuals. You bring soccer into the mix, and it's just this cultural explosion that is, Hearts of Pine.
There are things we feel around us. Crisp air. Warmth. And then there are things we feel within us. Exhilaration. Freedom. Comfort. Belonging. Plan your trip at visitmaine.com.